So I want to start off this video and say, Drake Bell, mother ass beaten immediately. She needs her ass beat immediately. She needs her ass beat immediately. If you don't know what I'm about to talk about, honey, go watch the Quiet on Set Nickelodeon documentary series, child. It is on a website you can find it for free, okay? If you need it for free, DM me. But girl, look here. I am here to review the Quiet on Set documentary. Baby, my thoughts are all over the place. I have cohesively wrote some notes about some main topics that I really want to talk about that were brought up in the docuseries. The docuseries was a hot ass mess. Now, this docuseries was about Dan Schneider and also the people he hired to work alongside individuals on his hit shows. Now, before I sit here and start going down the rabbit hole of how I feel about all of this information, let's roll the intro and then we're going to dissect this stuff because this is crazy. Now, starting off episode 1 of the docuseries, it is talked about how Dan did not want to give his writers, females in particular, a full salary. He had about 5 writers, 3 males, 2 females, and the 3 male writers were all paid individually, and the 2 female writers were put into a contract where they were to split the payment down the middle. Now, this was the first season of, I can't remember what show, but the show is not the important part of it. The important part of it, we have 2 female writers working individually, but getting paid together. Now, the first season happens, that's how they're paid. The second season rolls around. One of the female writers does not come back to the show, but the other lady does return. Now, when she returns to the show, Dan offers her a deal of saying, look here, I want you to work, I think, 16 weeks with pay and then 14 weeks without pay, I believe. Now, she agreed, okay? She agreed to the damn deal. Could never be me. She agreed to the damn deal, but she didn't work longer than, I think, 3 days on the second season as a writer. She said that it was draining, it was toxic, and it was all over the place. Dan would send her emails along with other writers and tell them to do things. Tell them to scream out certain things, to say certain things, to make certain noises. Now, at first, it was more calm things, were just to say, you know, I can't remember shit.
In the beginning, I would see, instant message pop up. Dan would send a message for you to say out loud. Scream hammers.
It started off calmly. Now, eventually, over time, Dan would send emails and tell them to scream out, I'm a pig, oink oink, I'm a slut, I'm disgusting, I'm fat, I'm nasty, all type of stuff. And if, they would not scream out whatever he told them to say in the email, he would send the email over and over and over and over. And let me tell you something, I would have been sending that same email he sent me over and over and over to HR, bitch. He would have had to been about it the first 2 years, bitch. They would have had to find a new writer, producer, everything. Nickelodeon would have had to shut down for a couple years, bitch, because I would have had everybody's job, bitch. Everybody's job.
And then it would be, more degrading, like scream, I'm an idiot, or slut. And if you didn't, he would send you the message again, caps, exclamation points. He would scream out, say it, until you did.
There's no way that I'm going to be in a work office, getting an email, trying to work on a script, trying to do whatever I'm doing in the work job, and I have creator of this show telling me to scream out, I'm a slut, I'm a pig, nigga, I'm over here writing the episode because we got to film in 3 days. Let's not do all that. Now, also, alongside with the email, he would make workplace contests. In these workplace contests, it would be things to do with degrading yourself, with overeating or saying something degrading about yourself, and whoever did it the best got paid the best. It was a situation with a writer where he told her, look here, eat all this ice cream, and it was so much ice cream. But it's like, okay, bitch, it's ice cream. Now, she eats all this ice cream, and the bet was for her to get $200 in the end. Now, she didn't get that $200, okay? She did not get the $200, and he ended up, moving on with his life. Weeks pass by, and he hollers out, another contest. Who wants to do this, that, and that? And she hollers out, well, if I do it, are you going to throw it on your tab? And he hits the roof. He hits the roof, starts going off on her and telling her, hey, do not tell people, I have money issues or I'm not paying off my debts and this, that, and that.
The money didn't come, and I know he must have forgotten about it. So one day, He said, somebody kill that fly for $30. And I go, should I add it to your tab? Dan took me into his office and he said, how dare you accuse me of not making good on my bets?
But it's like, sir, you've told me to do this, that, and that, and you said you were gonna give me this, that, and that, and you ain't came through. And you telling the next bitch to do this, that, and that, and you finna give them this, that, and that, and you ain't finna come through on them either. So I'm finna tell everybody, bitch, I'm finna tell everybody, he's a liar, he's a liar. I be having my adooza. Girl, like for real though. But to move on, near the end of the first episode, opening up the second episode, we got introduced to one of the first pedophiles that worked on set for Nickelodeon. Jason was his name, I believe. Now, Jason was hand in hand with every child that walked through the doors of Nickelodeon. And we don't know his story with everybody, but I do know his story with at least 2 individuals. The first individual I want to speak about is the extra that worked on set, and he ended up exchanging contact informations with the young lady. And by young, I mean young. I think she was about 7 or 8, and he ends up giving her his email, and she does the same, and she gives him her email, and her mother is thinking, you know, hey, this is amazing. We have one of the people on set for Nickelodeon, you know, really want to keep in contact with my daughter. You know, she's just an extra this go around, but hopefully, you know, he's able to get her through the door and do some things in the future. Now, the child and Jason begin to email back and forth for a little while, and the emails end up moving into Jason sending nude pics to the child. Now, of course, the mother ran across the email, seen the email, and shut that down immediately. But she didn't push forward with any charges, saying anything to anybody. She didn't know what to do. And as I was watching the documentary, this happened a lot, where people pulled their child out of situation but did not wave the red flag and kind of left everybody else stranded, which is, you know, I don't know. You know, that's why it took a minute for me to get in front of this camera and talk about it, because I didn't know how I was to feel about this certain situations. I feel like red flags should have been waved early on with the first parent, with a lot of this stuff that was talked about in the Nick documentary, where it's like, you know, they seen the pedophile would do something crazy, and they're like, okay, not my child. And they pull the child off set, but nobody goes down to the police station. Nobody goes down to the executive room and speaks to the higher up. Nobody goes anywhere. You just pull your child and you leave hundreds of others. Now, later in the documentary, the same mother and daughter are questioned by the police once they finally arrest Jason for pedophilia.
Oh, in 2003, they searched his home. They find this enormous trove of child. Over 10,000 images of children.
And now, I'm trying to Google because I can't remember the boy's name. This next individual I want to speak about. Black young man. So, I found it. I think his name is Brian. Brian worked on the set of All That, and he also moved forward to, why am I like tearing up? Girl, this stuff is crazy. Brian worked on the set of All That and also worked on the set of The Prank Show. Girl, this is crazy. The turn up is crazy. And not be trying to push Drew to teeth. I was sitting there like, girl, you're crying, man. Shut up. Wait a minute. Girl, this shit is crazy. Brian worked on the set of All That and also moved forward to work on the prank show that they did, where they would bring all of the Nickelodeon stars. Now, before I moved on to the prank show, I want to talk about the show All That. Now, on this show, he was dressed very peculiarly all the time. There's images of him dressed up, basically in all type of eggplant dicks. Okay, he looks a mess. There's hundreds of people on set, down from producers, writers, directors, costume designers, the actual cast. There's so many people on set, and for everybody to just act like none of this shit is going on is crazy. Because from the looks of what I seen and what I observed in the documentary, there were a couple bad apples in the bunch compared to the hundreds of people that worked. I feel like hundreds of people can team up and take 5 or 6 people that are disgusting and nasty off of the job site. Now, Brian moves forward to work on the prank show. Prank show was utilized to, I feel like, punish kids. And also, this show was a fetish type of show to do things to kids, to even push the edge even more, where he couldn't do as much as he could do on this game show. So with the game show, he was able to squirt everything on everybody, was able to pour everything on everybody. It was so nasty. The same Brian boy, he's wrapped in peanut butter, okay? Damn near butt-ass fucking naked at the age of maybe like, I don't know, 10, 12. Okay, butt-ass motherfucking naked in a room full of producers, in a room full of goddamn cameras, in a room full of lights, okay? Covered in peanut butter. And it's filmed as dogs come out and lick. Let me tell you something. There's no fucking way.
Lick peanut butter off my body? That sounds like some kind of awkward fantasy from some freaky dude. I don't like this. I feel gross.
There's no damn way. There's no way. That is the story that was told through episode 2, I believe. Episode 3 moves forward and we finally get to sit down with the star, Drake, from the hit show Drake and Josh. Now, he details this incident that happens before they start to film, and at this point, I'm blown away in the documentary. Now, Drake is 14, I believe, at the time, and he's currently getting ready to film this big show, Drake and Josh. And his father is side by side with him, filming the pilot and, you know, rehearsing and getting things ready, you know, for Drake and Josh. Now, as his father is watching over Drake, and he noticed that this man named Brian Peck, is very touchy-feely and around Drake a little too much, okay? A little too close for comfort. So, of course, as a father, Drake's father goes and kind of calls things out with Brian. Now, that does not go well, okay? That does not go well, and Brian ends up using his manipulation tactics to tell Drake, like, look here, your father is causing trouble, and that's not good for your career. That's not good for your career. You won't be able to go into certain rooms. You won't be able to go far as you could go if you keep your father around as management, whatever your father has going on. Now, mind you, Brian is telling Drake this solely because Drake's father told Brian, my son can put his own shirt on. My son can fix his own jeans. My son can do things on his own. Brian was overly touchy in a room of a couple hundred niggas. Like I said, other cast members, other producers, writers, room full of eyes. But Brian tells Drake, look here, your father's causing trouble. He's not good here. And of course, Drake, being young, being on the way to be a child star, he's going to make decisions and he's going to do whatever he think he can do to protect whatever career he think he's about to, you know, grab a hold of to. So Drake ends up parting ways with his father, and his mother ends up coming in and taking the place of Drake's father's and, you know, bringing him on set and this, that, and that. Now, when Drake's father was removed away from Drake and working on set, Drake's father sat and told his mama, he said, look here, there's something going on with that Brian man and Drake. Watch our baby. Protect our baby. Drake's mother did the exact opposite. She did not protect their baby. She did not watch their baby. The exact same man that Drake's father was telling her about, she walked Drake right to him. She had this man driving and picking him up from auditions, driving and picking him up from classes, being around him too much. If your ex-husband, however that situation was, if he told you, watch this man in particular, why were you so easily to hand your son off to this man that was already told to be watched?
But I did say to her, and I said this to her in person, I said, but you never, ever leave Drake alone with Brian Peck, and you never let him be around him unsupervised, period, whatsoever.
Now, Drake was forced to be around Brian on set and off set. On set because Brian was, like I said, he was helping with the kids and running things over at the network. Off set, he would do a lot of things for Drake and help Drake's mother, you know, transport Drake from here and there and do things that the mother's supposed to have been fucking doing, okay? If Drake, I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm sitting here trying to be nice. If Drake is sitting here working on set, making money, paying the bills, what the fuck were you doing as the mother? What were you, did she have a job or something? What the fuck were she doing where if you're taking money from Drake, and if this is what's going on, Drake's 14, 15, and he's making this money, and he's working, and he's doing that, what the hell are you doing? Maybe she had a job, I don't know. That really wasn't brought the fuck up. Now, as time go on, Brian begins to come on to Drake and begins to do all type of mind-boggling things to Drake.
Opened my eyes, I woke up, and he was sexually assaulting me.
Drake didn't speak on everything verbatim on what happened, but they did insert the court documents and stuff like that, explaining, you know, what happened. And baby, this Brian man was penetrating Drake, also putting items in Drake to penetrate Drake, also was forcing Drake to do all type of oral stuff on it. It was crazy to think and even read and hear. It was, girl, that shit was crazy. It was crazy. And then, like I said, this baby is only 14, 15 years old. This happened for the longest of times, several of times. So many times where once Drake finally moved forward and got a girlfriend, he felt like, ooh, maybe it won't happen anymore. It's been going on so much. Maybe the man will respect my relationship. And of course, this man's a pedophile. He don't respect nothing. If he respects you, he wouldn't even touch you, baby. He doesn't give a fuck about her relationship. Drake's at home chilling one day, or either at he's at his girlfriend's, actually. He's at his girlfriend's house chilling. And at this point, he's trying to separate from Brian. And Brian, I do want to make sure I got the right name. Yep, Brian. And then Brian was calling Drake's phone and also somehow got a hold of Drake's girlfriend's house phone number and started calling both phones back to back, ring. Drake's girlfriend mother pulled Drake to the side and like, what is this? Don't no grown man call over and over. If you said you don't want to go to Disney World, you don't want to go to Disney World. And of course that conversation unfolds and it leads into the Big Bang. Drake goes and tells his mother. One day, I can't remember how he said, he told her, but I think it just hit the roof. He just started to cry and told her everything. And that's when she called the police and they were able to file charges on Brian.
I just exploded. I have no idea what provoked it, but I just screamed into the phone everything that had been happening to me. My mom immediately called the police.
Now all of this happens before Drake and Josh hit the air. All of this happens. The case was never a big public thing. Of course, social media wasn't as big as it was now. Also, with this being a minor, I don't think his name was publicly announced of who did it. News got around that something happened on set. Well, not quite on set, but something happened with one of the people that were working on set, but nobody knew. I think Drake spoke about people calling him and saying, hey, you know, Brian, he was arrested, you know, do you know what happened, da, da, da. And Drake was like, you know, I had to play dumb, even though Drake was the one that was the victim. Now, I'm going to do a deep dive and figure out what the fuck Drake has done with this underage girl, because a lot of people have talked about it and this is the first time it fell up under my nose. I did not know about it. I'll be back. I'll be back about that. Now, in this court battle between Drake and Brian, Drake had to sit through readings of letters of support on Brian's behalf, down from producers, different writers, different people in the Hollywood industry that Drake would, you know, one day maybe have to, you know, cross and see in the industry. All these people are writing letters of support to Brian and victim blaming Drake, saying Drake must have done something, Drake must have begged, let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck if Drake was down on his knees in the motherfucking rain. Storm and rain with R&B in the fucking back. There's nothing that a 14-year-old should be able to say to get a grown-ass man to offer anything up other than a motherfucking hug. The victim blaming was crazy. There's something Drake must have what? Now, the man only gets 16 months in jail. 16 months. I know motherfuckers standing. I know motherfuckers sitting in jail for 4 years over weed. But this man didn't stuck his woo-ha in somebody, didn't stuck items in somebody, didn't force mouths on some. did none of all type of shit, and he gets 16 months in jail. He gets out of jail, he goes and works on the set of Zack and Cody for Disney Channel. Unacceptable! Did people just not care? Were we not at a level of technology to have background checks? Nah, bitch, there was some background checks. I don't know. There was some background checks. Did he just have enough connections? I don't know. That wasn't explained on how the fuck he got that job. The moral of this documentary was Dan loves feet. He loves hiring pedophiles. And I was just taken aback. This is not everything that was talked about in this 4-part documentary. This was just the key factors that I really want to jump in front of this camera and speak about because it blew my mind. Dan, he deserves to lethal injection along with the pedophiles he hired to work coinciding with these kids. But Dan needs to lethal injection. That nigga was getting more massages than a single mom with a massage envy gift card. That nigga got too many massages. He loved feet. He was very, very weird, a hot mess. But he may have been struggling with bipolar disorder. Dan himself did not do anything directly to kids physically, but a lot of things he wrote into the shows for the kids to do to get his rocks off, which were disgusting. But this is all I have to say about all this shit, girl. I love y'all so much. Make sure you guys be blessed, be safe. Leave your comments about what you feel about this documentary. They say another part is supposed to come out in a couple weeks. If you want me to speak about it, review it, tell me so when I go watch it, because I am gonna watch it, but tell me if you want me to review it ahead of time so when I watch it I can take notes. But I'll definitely see y'all in the next video. Definitely be safe, be blessed. Love y'all.